this and we need an affidavit and whatever. Okay, fine. They did everything they could to, drag their feet, but eventually they acquiesced and they allowed the campaign to continue. The way you can know a campaign is not frozen, because it never was officially frozen, is because people kept donating, and it was making me crazy. The Toronto Star saying it's frozen. I'm like, hey, idiot! Notice the numbers going up. That means it's not frozen. But anyways, so that was the first level, and we got through that. We made a request for a transfer that took forever, finally got approved, but was delayed and delayed and delayed, and the money finally went into the corporate bank account that we set up, and then TD Bank froze it. And prior to that, by the way, before we got to TD Bank, we couldn't get a bank. Banks wouldn't deal with us. That's how scary this is. That because of the news and all the fake crap and, insurrectionists and whatever, we went to all the major banks and, Series 2 banks. They wouldn't give us bank accounts. We finally had our lawyer get TD to relent and give us a bank account. Fine. So the money went into the bank account, and then you know what happened? The bank froze the money. So now we're sitting there with 1 point whatever, I think a million and change of the initial deposits that we need to get money out to people. And now the bank has frozen our money. So first it was GoFundMe, then it was TD Bank. So the solution we had to that is we'll get our lawyer to move it to his escrow account or his trust account. So the bank agreed, okay, fine, your lawyer's going to administer it, great, fine. They still haven't transferred it, at least as far as I know, unless they transferred it today and nobody told me, which is possible. But as of yesterday, it still wasn't transferred. And I saw my lawyer 2 days ago, and he said to me, yeah, money was supposed to be transferred into my escrow, and it's still not there. I'm like, well, of course. What else, Keith? What else could go wrong, right? And then, so that's with the GoFundMe and TD Bank. Then the other side was dealing with GiveSendGo, which you guys, I'm sure, all know about because it's all over the news. With GiveSendGo, the only protection we have was Doug Ford made his announcement after we requested a transfer from GiveSendGo, because again, we're still waiting there with drivers who need money. And Doug Ford comes out and says, okay, well, we went to court. We want to seize the funds. So, oh, fuck. So what do? We called GiveSendGo right away. Jacob saw it. He responded online and he canceled. Luckily, he had enough time to cancel the transfer. So that money is in the possession of GiveSendGo as our lawyers go to court tomorrow to try to fight our side so we can get the money released. This is the sort of nonsense we've been going through. So in with all of that, that's why we went into Bitcoin. And I know a lot of people don't understand Bitcoin, and I'm not here to preach Bitcoin to people, right? People like it or they don't. I don't really care. But what we need is a mechanism. We need a mechanism to get money into the hands of drivers who've been sitting there and need fuel, need repairs, and all that sort of stuff. So the Bitcoin fund that was created initially was for legal, for defensive and offensive, because we know we're going to get targeted with lawfare, but we also want to go after some of the smear merchants who've been attacking us. That's why I put in a tweet, Nicholas Sandman, because we have a strategy for that, and that's what the Bitcoin money is for. However, since every other banking institution is screwing us, we have no choice but to take some of that money and convert it into fiat to get into the hands of drivers. That's what I spent half of my day doing today, and I will spend half of my day doing tomorrow. But hopefully by the end of tomorrow, Bull Bitcoin, which is the off ramp that we're using, a Canadian company, they will be converting a portion of the Bitcoin we have into money that will be going directly to the drivers. So I got to meet with everybody tomorrow, get the list of the drivers who haven't gotten money, because some of them have gotten cash from the cash donations, and start getting them into their pockets. That's one of the big projects I have to do tomorrow. Does that answer everybody's questions about money so far?
I just have one of why you need to be the middleman at all. Why can't you organize it into blocks where e-transfers direct to the emails of the truckers can be inserted? That way, no one has to trust, no one has to see the paperless trail of you handing cash to truckers. Because in a perfect world, we can all assume that you're pure-hearted and you've got all the best intentions. But when it comes to donations, is there not a standard of receipt tracking that people will be entitled to? And when was the last time you've talked to anyone on some sort of press conference to let them know where their donations are going?
Okay, so any platform we use is going to centralize the money. And because we're operating as a nonprofit, now there's certain tax implications. So we're now collecting money from a nonprofit and we need to distribute it. So because of that and because of legal requirements, unfortunately, we have to put it through the process because GiveSendGo is one central entity that pushes it to us and then we have to distribute it. If there was a way to have a completely automated and decentralized platform from the get-go, I would have loved that. But unfortunately, we just don't have that. But what I think Bull Bitcoin is gonna do, and I'll know because I'm going through all the setup with them tomorrow, is I think they put up everybody like as a receipt, like every person who's going to be getting money converted into fiat, and I think it creates a profile for each individual, and it shows the money going to them. Those guys are big on transparency and having everything on an open ledger and whatever. So I'm having them take care of it. All of that money has been put into what's called a multi-sig wallet, meaning there's multiple people that need to authenticate each transaction. So you have three people that have to confirm, kind of like the nuclear code. Two or three people have to
But is this
verify, and then it
money,
goes
is
through.
if you convert things into Bitcoin, isn't it subject to the volatility of the value of Bitcoins? Isn't it subject to, like, why can't this be
No, it's being
each
converted out of
trucker?
it's being converted
Okay.
out of Bitcoin. The
But
donations are
it
Bitcoin.
seems like all your answers revolve around something coming through you guys, and you're turning into a sprawling bureaucracy that now is working with the mayor. It's handling a conversion to Bitcoin, and truckers are not
From no,
Bitcoiners.
you have to
Okay,
okay.
no. But can you not have GiveSend goes for every truck captain and you put it on a board and you're not in the way, it goes directly to that trucker's GiveSend go on their block. There is no reason that people need to, like, and it sounds like from what you're saying, there
Mm.
is no real paper trail of people that want to see that their donations are making it through. It has to be, you have my word, I've converted this to cash and I handed it through their windows. Did you take a picture with the truckers of here's 500 to this guy on this block? Like, there needs to be accountability when you're dealing with the level of money you're dealing with. And on another front, you're handling high level negotiations and claiming to do misinformation ops to send the police in Toronto on a frenzy, not knowing the long or medium term math of that decision and whether it'll develop goodwill. My point is, we don't need to hide. We don't need anything but full transparency. A GoPro in a room where you come out every 3 hours. One person's in charge of saying, here's an update. Here's where the money went. Here's our talks with the mayor. He doesn't want to do this. And until he acknowledges us as guests instead of occupiers, we're not talking to him. Achieve some of the initiative back. It just seems that there's so many ways to do this. And we're all relying on kind of your whim and a Bitcoin guy you're talking to. And it just seems like truckers don't want to get into this. They want their diesel. They want their food. They don't want Bitcoin wallets.
Okay, again, nobody has said Bitcoin. Well, you need to listen to me. The Bitcoin is donations. That's the only way they've been able to send us money because everything else is blocked. So it's wonderful to say we should do A, B, C, or D, but we've been spending the entire week trying to prevent being blocked from anything. Everything related to this has been blocked in every avenue. And all we're doing is spending all our time, well, not all our time, but we're spending so much of our time with lawyers just trying to get access to anybody's money. Whether it should have been one campaign or multiple campaigns. Like when you market any sort of product, the brand was the Freedom Convoy. Now you want to go back and play, Monday morning quarterback and say, oh, there should have been a separate GoFundMe for each individual driver. Okay, maybe hindsight's 2020, but when it was initially started on GoFundMe, the idea was just to get $20,000 and a few trucks here. We had no idea it would scale to this level. Like nobody could
You
imagine.
had an idea the first time you used GoFundMe, and you chose to make the same mistake of everything run through us. Why do all your solutions say run through me? You keep dumping everything into one bag, and then they snag the bag. Why does it have to be a bag that you hold? What is stopping you from saying, here's the block captain's GiveSendGo from between Wellington and Banks? Here's the block captain's GiveSendGo. Pick your poison. This
Listen,
is Little Saskatchewan.
if
It's
communicating,
hindsight's 2020, but you can also do damage control. You can also learn from mistakes you've made and say, maybe this shouldn't
great.
be running through me.
And in a perfect world, all the communication with each block captain would have been perfect and there were no problems. But the reality has been that it's been very difficult for us even to communicate internally. So yeah, in a well-structured setup and bureaucracy that had been operating for significant amount of time, where there's structures and processes and whatever, sure. But we're in the position, we're just trying to build it. Like, it's great to criticize us and say, hey, you guys haven't been doing it great, but we've been doing so many band-aid solutions just to put out the fires and keep people happy, and all we're doing is being attacked for it. I don't know else how to tell you. Like, yeah, when we set up the GiveSendGo, like, that was them reaching out to us saying, listen, you guys have a lot on your plate. Let us take care of it. We'll set up the GiveSendGo. Like, Dave Rubin is doing the same thing with locals. He said, listen, you guys are dealing with a lot. Let us set up the back end. We'll have it sorted out for you, and then send all of your people here. Because people also just, the other thing is being crazy, people just want one link. They don't want a link from each individual road captain. They just want one place to go. They can click a button and donate. That's just how people shop and how people donate to causes. So, I
Well,
mean,
it sounds like you're just putting too much on yourselves. I mean, there's probably 30 people in this room right now that could make a website of click on your block, donate to that block right now. It doesn't need to flow through one source. And I think the lesson that should be learned is not hindsight quarterbacking. I'm happy that you tried. I'm sorry that it failed, but can we not look back and see if the strategy has been working or failing, and rectify that by the decentralization of funds and not having to trust how much you put in cash and how much you handed through a window? People are expecting a high level of efficiency when they're donating such a large amount of money. We haven't even had press conferences in days. It's been like, when was the last time you talked about where the funds were going on any kind of press conference?
on Saturday. Sorry, on
Okay,
Sunday.
where is
On
that?
Sunday.
I've asked, like today or a week ago, you're saying?
No, on Sunday.
Okay, so
We just had a
today?
press conference on Sunday specifically. Look, we're not going to be doing press conferences every day over the same thing over and over again. Like, we have a certain media strategy, and the
You don't
reason
think
we're
it's worth
utilizing.
reassuring people of what the situation is?
You want us to go and do a press conference every day saying, guys, everything is fine? Is that what you're looking for?
You can send me an email and I'll do it for you. I'll say, look, there's no change. Here's where the money's gone. He converted $10,000 to cash, and the block captains up here got $500 for diesel. This guy got 3 hotel rooms for the night. But when the receipts come due, if anything happens, people are going to get incredibly suspicious in this rolling ball of things clumping up. It's like, we need to know that there's some sort of leadership that's not being overwhelmed. And the answer we seem to be getting is we're very overwhelmed.
Oh, of course. And then that's what we just spent the last week dealing with, the fact that we've been so overwhelmed and building organizational structures that weren't there. I even think it's bad now. It was 10 times worse a week ago. Like, it takes time to get this ship built properly, right?
So decentralization is not an option. Is that what you're saying? It's not possible to have direct GiveSendGos for truck captains that you can just give to them and you don't need to be a middleman.
People want to go, click, donate, and not have to deal with it and have us administer it. That's unfortunately how we've operated. We can't now reinvent the wheel now a third time. We need to get everything, all our checks and balances, and get our lawyers to go to court and just get our money released, because we've been putting this all out of pocket. Like, the lawyer, the until yesterday, because there were cash donations. They started giving cash donations to drivers, and they're making a list of which drivers got money. Until yesterday, we were out of pocket. Like, we were taking our own money, giving it to drivers, to the point where Tamara's out of money now. But she doesn't have money to give to any more people because she's been floating people through all of this time. So, listen, In a perfect world, sure, it could click a button, it could be decentralized, everything could be set up, but unfortunately, we need to build with what we have. We have to deal with the infrastructure that we have right now and get everything improved to the point where we can release all the funds and get it all out there. And that's what I'm hoping by tomorrow, the end of day tomorrow, we'll have the first of the Bitcoin donations coming in. And I want to be clarified that because you keep using the word decentralization, which is what Bitcoin is. That's the donation mechanism. We're not giving people Bitcoin. We're paying people's bills in fiat cash. But the donation drive that was started to help us because they saw what was going on with GoFundMe was from this Bitcoin community who created a GoFundMe equivalent and said, you guys need this because you're going to keep getting censored no matter what you do. So we've raised these funds for you to help. That was the whole idea. So what this exchange or this off-ramp, whatever you want to call, is doing for us, we set up the account today. They're going to walk us through it tomorrow, and we should be able to start processing monies to drivers tomorrow. That's the goal by the end of the day.
My question is with, TD, hitting on you guys, how exactly are you going to be able to, as the organizers, transfer the Bitcoin into fiat? Because usually on an exchange, you have to send it to a bank or a financial institution. But with you guys getting hit with the financial institutions, and I'm hearing that you guys are personally getting hit as well, how are you exactly going to do that?
Because that money is not going to be going into our account. It's going to be going directly from Bitcoin, converted into fiat, and directly to the driver.
And so, Marie, are you a reporter? If you
Yes.
are trying information for a story, or if anyone's trying to give information for a story, we would appreciate if you would announce yourself and explain which media.
I'm not doing it for a story. I'm just asking a question.
Yeah.
Very aware.
And guys, I don't have so much more time. I have a few more minutes.
I definitely have a very important question outside
and
of this
Dichter,
Bitcoin thing.
I'd also like to give Mr. Dichter just a piece of advice. Mr. Dichter, for one, there's 1,370 people on this call, and I can speak for 1,369 of them. Thank you. You're a patriot. But and I am a donor, okay? So now I just want to give you a piece of advice, and Mr. Rampart, please let me yield the balance of my time in a moment. Please, for your own benefit, your own safety, your own peace of mind, have your lawyer draft a one-page document that stipulates the chain of custody and plan of disbursement, publish it, and that's it. Anybody's got any questions, you send them there. I'd like to yield the balance of my time, sir.
Good idea.
Until after the comment.
I'll talk to Keith about
that
tomorrow.
takes care of all of this. One piece of paper. Here's where the money went. I'm the lawyer. Here's how we're dispersing it. Sign it. Publish it. Anybody has a question, send them there. End of discussion. Please keep going back to doing God's work. We love you, baby.
And you know what? You're 100% right. I'm going to put that on my list, and I'll talk to Keith about it tomorrow. And just put something simple that people understand how we're operating. Because I'm always having to deal with this. I'm always having to put out the fires, and people are getting so frustrated. And I understand. I would be in the same boat. I wish everybody could see what we're dealing with on our end. And I know you guys are sympathetic. I know you are. But I can assure you things are getting better slowly.
How can people help you? What can the general public do to help?
Honestly, one of the biggest problems we have is, and they're going to get upset at me for sharing this. The biggest problem we have is other groups, individual little organizations or political parties, and I don't want to single any of them out, but constantly trying to sabotage us. Constantly. It's so frustrating. We wake up, 6 a.m, we start getting to work, and then all of a sudden, somebody has scheduled a press conference that has not been authorized. We don't know who it is. We're now chasing each other's teams. Who's authorized this press conference? And it's every day. We end up spending half our day with this, pardon me, bullshit of people going rogue and trying to do their own things under the brand. I just wish people would stop and just focus on mandates and passports. That's what we're here for. We're not here for political parties. We're not here for partisanship. We're here just to end these mandates and the passports. And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw, we're starting to see from a Digicom perspective, we're starting to see the signs of cracking from the government. And I'll tell you one perfect example of that. When Justin Trudeau gave his press conference, like we all know is all horseshit. That's fine. But remember, there was a time where he said, right in the middle, he said, because of our policies, 1 million lives have been saved. And when I heard that, I thought, gotcha. Because I know how Digicom works in political parties. That's the first step in changing a narrative. And it'll take a couple of weeks. But that told me they understand they have to move on this issue. And that is planting the seed for the next press conference. If we're peaceful and, there's no any sort of uprising or violence, the next press conference, which may be the middle of this week or the end of the week, will be something along the lines of the science is changing. We're seeing what other countries are doing. We're monitoring it. They're all a bunch of racist bigots and homophobes, but we're looking at other countries for their guidance. And then the following week, they'll have another press conference, which will say the science has changed. They're still a bunch of bigots, but Omicron is nowhere as lethal as the other ones. And we're going to move to change our policies in the next month or 3 weeks or 2 weeks. That's how they operate, right? Because they have to claim victory and they can't give us credit for it. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I just want these passports and mandates done with. And I think we're on that path. I saw the first sign that that's happening.
Good points. Ben, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Wait, if he doesn't have to go, can we have some more questions? Or
I'd like to just briefly outline this for Ben. Ben, if you have some time, we have a few people that are qualified, I would suppose, to ask questions here right now. We also have 27 people requesting mics. Okay. And this could go on for a very long time.
So why don't we do it again?
Well, certainly, you're more than welcome. I would love to hold a Canada Talks tonight and do what we call a lightning round of questions, where they come up, they have 60 seconds to ask a question, then you can respond. I could set that up at your leisure, sir.
Okay, let me just look at why don't
okay,
we do
I got to get some stuff out. There's some critical questions before we go through the plethora, and that's fine.
You had your moment. I definitely need to make attention to this, and I just say
go, Josh. This better be awesome. Let's hear
it. And
if
I don't have the answer, I'll tell you I don't have the answer, and I'll get back to you. But just
okay,
so you
Ben,
know.
give me a follow, and we'll DM.
Go ahead, Trans.
Okay. Yes. With respect to the public perception. As of right now, within the community, I'm not entirely sure if you're responsible for this, but we are having a lot of indicators that there's a lot of civil unrest in Ottawa at this point, and there seems to be a lot of counter protests. And within these counter protests, various barricades are being put up. A lot of the people in Ottawa are citing these slow roll tactics around schools as being sort of intimidation tactics. Now, whether that be true or not, I think this needs to be addressed. I think this needs to be addressed with respect to the safety of the kids in Ottawa in a very proactive way. Now, I would not question that. But the fact of the matter is that the people of Ottawa right now are determining this convoy as a threat to the community. And I would say that these slow rolling convoys, of which you said that that's sort of part of a strategy, those slow rolling convoys are contributing to this friction between this movement and the people of Ottawa. And I would also furthermore like to wonder.
Okay. Well, hold on.
Who's making the decision to relocate various convoy elements? Because we know that the convoy has been relocated to different parking lots across from Carleton School, and the students there are saying they're feeling intimidated. Whether that's true or not, whether it's warranted, we have a significant issue with perception. That's what I'm saying right now. I'll get that across. Go ahead.
Okay. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Lord.
I have never heard anything about any slow roll convoys around schools. I will go to the office and check, but I highly doubt that. I do know that, you know, we've all been seeing the radical leftist activists, and we know who they are in Toronto. I mean, I can tell you what faculties at U of T they're students at, because I've had to deal with them before, because they always come to harass different speakers. And I'm sure it's the same model that is used here. Everybody here knows, not to take the bait. We all understand that the activists on the far left will try to bait truckers into losing their tempers and whatnot. But we also know that we're all from a heavily regulated industry. Most of us are small business people, quite disciplined, a lot of veterans, a lot of people I know who are ex-cops as well, who are truckers. So I don't see anybody here taking the bait from some, you know, gender studies students who want to put on an Antifa mask and LARP as a communist for some afternoon for $15 an hour. I'm not terribly worried about that. With regards to slow rolling around schools, I have no idea what you're talking about. I do know there was a slow roll done around the airport in the beginning of last week or the middle of last week. And that was just a little bit of an experiment on our end. And I don't want to get into why, but that's the only thing I'm aware of.
Okay, I just have to say this really quick. I appreciate all you've done to organize this, to get the convoy here. I'm not shitting on you saying, oh, you can't handle it. But when people don't hear from you at regular intervals, even if you're struggling, they'd like to hear from you. There are many people around here that are qualified to help out. I'm talking to a law professor every day that would really be liking to help out. And you taking this kind of possessive approach of, it's my movement, you guys have no idea what I'm dealing with. Of course, we have no idea what you're dealing with. You don't talk to us much. There's not much transparency.
Hold on. Who's taking possessive? Who's being possessive?
No, you're saying that we've got so much to deal with, but we're here on week 3. And what are the qualifications? The future of our country is at stake. So who's the high-level negotiator you've hired, or is it you? And what are your qualifications to deal with a mayor that is totally dug his heels in to demonize the movement? He's reading out of the deal. Sure. When I read the letter back, which was my original concern of who the hell wrote this, because you're saying, oh, we love you, Mr. Tyrant. We love you. We're coming to the table. That's opposite of art of the deal. That's opposite of Sun Tzu. If you go tell us live, we know that we're in Mordor and we're bumbling together, walking towards Mount Doom. People want to help, and they can help if you notice and you don't get like cloistered in and then tell us like every week, like, oh guys, I'm working on it. We want to hear you live time tell us what you're encountering. The truth doesn't need to hide. We don't need to do counterintelligence ops on them and lie and send out misinfo. They're monitoring everything you say anyways, anything any of us say that are close to this movement. So what I'm asking is, why can't we get more updates, more transparency? And if you need help, it's all here waiting for you. There's no need for centralizing everything with a group of people that come out. Like Tamara is lovely. She's got a heart of gold and she's led this movement and she's inspired so many people. But is she qualified to be negotiating this? And if not, if you're very surprised by this and blindsided, why are you blindsided after 3 weeks? And are you qualified to handle this? I know you're doing great and you've got your plate full. Has this been partitioned?
Okay, hold on. You're not going to like this answer, but I think you'll understand. We have a very, very highly qualified negotiator that I'm not allowed to talk about yet for a number of reasons, for political reasons. It's not going to be me. I'm not going to be the one negotiating. It's going to be somebody very, very qualified in government. And we're right now at the point where we're kind of lining up the ball to the tee, because we can, as I mentioned before, we can see the cracks forming in the government between you and I, because I do know a lot of people in the Conservative Party. I've had a lot of them, you know, reaching out privately, sending supportive messages privately. And I tell them, well, why don't you go public with that? Like, oh, well, you know, it's difficult, but we're getting there. Okay, fine. But I don't want this to become a partisan political thing. What I care is that the Liberal Party is in power and they need to reverse their mandates. And that's why I've been focusing on the Liberal Party and those 30 other Liberal MPs who are willing to, or they're just about to start to go public, because they see the bloc breathing down their neck in Quebec, and that Justin is going to cost them their job. That's what this boils down to. Politicians are all the same everywhere, right? So yes, we have a very high level negotiator. I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. I promise when we get to that point, you'll be happy with it. and that'll be fine. In terms of the logistics of moving the trucks around, there's a whole team that does that. I'm not part of that team. I'm just messaging and media and stuff like that. That's my area. And I don't want people stepping on my toes. I try not to step on their toes. In terms of having a regular communication, maybe this is it. Maybe we should do this every day or every couple of days. Get on Spaces for 20 minutes and we'll talk for a couple of minutes. I'll tell you everything that's new, if there's anything, and do it that way. Would you guys have a problem with that?
I would be so pleased to help you and assist in any way I can, Ben.
And you know what? Maybe if we did that, it'll help me communicating to the team to say, you know what? We have a bunch of our followers on Spaces. There's some tasks we can get them to do to give me some things that we need help with. Like, for example, I'll give you one example. Okay. And I'm a systems guy. Unfortunately, a lot of our people are not systems guys. So I'm trying to get them into, to-do lists and objectives and Kanban boards and all that sort of stuff. Right. One of the things that I want to do is, okay, we have a treasure chest of Bitcoin we're going to convert to fiat to pay some of these guys some of their expenses that they're out of pocket for. I need some people to go, truck to truck with a form, say, listen, give me your name, give me your email address and your phone number. We're going to have money for you later in the day, right? And I just don't have enough volunteers. And when I go to the ops room, I said, can you have somebody who can do this? They said, yes, we'll get somebody, and that's it. Maybe that team comes from the Spaces. So let me talk tomorrow to the team, see what's happening. Maybe some of you here can get involved and help us with that. Like, I'm fully open to that, right?
The power of
why do you mention
incredible?
Yeah, why do you mention Bitcoin when all you need is an email for an e-transfer, though? I've been going around. I've distributed over $10,000 directly to truckers by asking for their email and then sending out, hey, guys, if you want to donate, let me know which area you want to donate to.
There's $1 million that's been donated in Bitcoin. So there's
That's
$1 million
great.
in Bitcoin fund. It's in Bitcoin. It has to be converted, and it doesn't go via e-transfer. I don't want to say over this public forum how. There's a reason for it, but it will go directly to the people through this.
So there's no need for truckers to sign up for a Bitcoin wallet. They're just getting cash.
No.
They're getting money, but it's being accounted for.
They're just getting cash.
I think it's the third time you've said that, Ben, on this call, and I acknowledge that you've said that the money has come in Bitcoin, that
That's
it's
right.
not going out.
Absolutely. Go ahead, 3.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so first and foremost, guys, I've been a CEO for the world. The first thing I do is I look and I learn what the laws are before I do anything. Okay, and I'm an American. Currently, I'm in the Southern California area. There's a strip of Southern California, the beach cities from Huntington Beach to San Diego, that have not complied at all since day one. Not complied at all since day one. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, authoring a book and editing a book are two completely different things. And Ben, I acknowledge your heroic attempt to author this book for your country. And no matter what happens, I respect you for that.
Thanks,
now, right. The third thing is, a mandate is not a law. Okay, the laws that protect Americans and Canadians have been on the books for hundreds of years. Okay, a mandate is not a law. What's happened here is people had given their power to a human being, Justin Trudeau. It doesn't say anywhere in the Constitution or Oh Canada or anywhere. It says, God, keep our land glorious and free. Okay, God. Okay, and as much as I just sat here and listened to somebody rant at another person like they are God for what they're doing, that is the same thing that got people into this mess. Okay? Our civil rights and our human rights are ours. Nobody can take them from you under no circumstance. Nobody can give them to you. Okay? So not Justin Trudeau, not Ben Dichter, or anybody else. Okay? We have to take our God-given, constitutionally given powers back. We gave them to a politician. If I said to you, you're walking down the street and somebody came up to you, a random person, and said, you got to wear a mask for 2 years, you'd tell them where they can go. Well, guess what? Justin Trudeau is that person. He's a politician. He does not have the power to do this under any circumstances. There have been 6 Supreme Court cases in America that have all won by patriots like us. Why? The Constitution's very simple. The Supreme Court ruled 6 times. You cannot take somebody's civil rights from them for any reason, let alone a virus or this or that or the other thing. So all the folks have to do here is this, and Mr. Rampart, I'm almost done, is just simply take your power back, okay? If they want you to wear a mask or get on use a vaccine card to get on an airplane, don't fly. If they want you to put on a mask and put a vaccine card to get a piece of pizza, go to a different restaurant. That's what we did here. And one by one, they all caved, and this place has been, you know, running absolutely perfectly without any of that garbage for well over a year now. Whereas in 30 minutes from here in Los Angeles, it's a prison camp. 40% of the buildings are boarded up. The restaurants that are open are completely empty, right? It's like going into a restaurant, it's like checking into a government building. You got to get your temperature, your vax card, all this other stuff, okay? So the powers that you are seeking, you already have, okay? And like I just sat here and listened to a person, you know, go after somebody as if it's their responsibility to be responsible for them. That is what got you into this mess. Nobody.
Good Lord, you're a lunatic.
Lunatic, my ass.
Do you not think that a vast amount of power centralized in one person demands no accountability at all? 1 week, we've heard?
Bro, he's
Dude.
a volunteer.
Yeah, you speak for everyone in this room. I get it, Three
I'm a
Aces.
lunatic, right? Okay. He's a volunteer.
Three Aces, just give me a second, guys. Ben, we appreciate your time. I know you said that you had to cut it short pretty soon, and yeah, it's about 12:20 already. So what I wanted to ask you, we might, are you okay with you maybe 2 or 3 more questions, and then maybe let you go after that, or what do you think?
Honestly,
guys, I need to say something before Benjamin leaves. Okay, I had a gift wrapped counselor that would have descended a bubble of protection over this, because when you're in negotiations, they are not going to crack down or come in with child services. That was rejected. And this is the first time Benjamin's ever hearing about that. Okay. Now, I respect that. Yes, maybe he never heard about that. But in the next thing I see is that Tamara's engaged in high level negotiations with the mayor, and she's taken the bait to say, I've got 24 hours to sell this to my people. And the deal she's trying to sell is absolutely insane. And the best answer I get is Ben's going to take over. And then I get a secret negotiators coming in. What I'm saying is this is for the future of the freedom of Canada. And I don't accept it. And I love everything that Benjamin's achieved, Three Aces. I'm not just questioning it because I've got some God complex and I want to come in and take over. I want to make sure that people that have donated a lot of money are getting reports on where that's going. I don't think that's too much to ask. I think there's people that are willing to help out and say, this is where it's going. We handed 500 into this window and this window and this window. Having a rapport with the people who have donated so much in this is really, really important. So I don't want to take the wheel. I don't want to speak for the truckers. I want to hold accountable the great power and great responsibility that comes with us. Doesn't mean every week, and then when we question you, it's, oh, I've just heard about this, I'm going to handle it. I'm not trying to shit on Ben. I'm just saying that this is incredibly important. And even if we get live updates that don't go the way you think and things aren't going right, we don't expect that. We just expect you to accept help along the way and not claim that everyone's out to get you and that it's just a partisan attack on you.
It's just a process document, Trans. It's his lawyers saying, hey, guys, we've had 4 different massive changes take place in the last week. International media coverage, threats from local government, threats from a totalitarian dictator.
Death threats having to move multiple hotels.
Right.
I mean, Trans is making a good point that Tamara's, communication has been very confusing. I was looking at her Twitter thread to kind of understand what exactly was, her standpoint, because I read the letter earlier and then I saw, her tweet saying, no, that's lies. And I wasn't sure exactly
because the gentleman by the name
I've been cut off every time I've spoken.
Sorry, go ahead.
I did see the media saying, oh, they're going to completely leave. So I thought maybe that's what she's referring to. And then she's saying, no, we are. So it is confusing. But my question is, I just want to get some confirmation because I wasn't here this whole time. So, forgive me if you've already spoken to this, but have you been able at all to get any of the money from GoFundMe or GiveSendGo? Has any of that actually made it to a single trucker, or where are you on that? I'm sorry if you're regurgitating the same information you've given.
Not a penny. The money that's been going to truckers has been first out of our own pockets and then cash donations that came to us. And luckily, there's been sizable cash donations, and we just giving that directly to truckers. But everything that's gone through GoFundMe or GiveSendGo has been frozen in one way or another. Now, with GiveSendGo, it's not so much frozen because it's in the United States. It doesn't fall under what's it called, American jurisdiction. And I think Ted Cruz said today he was going to go after. He made some statement about the Ontario government or whatever it was that he's going to challenge them. We'll get the money eventually. They're just going to make our lives miserable. They'll bleed us in legal fees, going after all of your money that goes to the truckers. What are we going to do? We'll do the best we can, but that's why I'm so eager right now to get this Bitcoin fund unlocked, and we've been working because it's a multi-sig wallet. It's really complicated. It takes a lot of time, but that's why I'm eager to get that done. That ball rolling by the end of the day tomorrow, so we can at least get some of the money into their pockets. But
Thanks,
it's
Ben.
been a nightmare.
The one thing I'd like to follow up on is any response to the GiveSendGo hack.
This, for me, that's just a rumor. I know nothing about this. Like, I've been reading about hacks and whatever. I'm like, I asked people, they've been hacked. And so no, as far as I know. So I have no idea.
They were hacked. I was on the website when it got redirected. It was like a frozen video. If anyone wants to see it, I have it on my Twitter account. But yeah, they were definitely hacked, and it appears that donors' names and information has been compromised into a couple of documents that some people have gotten. So it's a very
that would be a question.
I'll give you clarification. There was a link to a file at the redirect site. It has been downloaded by other hackers. It has been converted to an Excel format. It is confirmed that individual donor information is now public knowledge.
Okay, I don't know. You'd have to have the person to ask about that is GiveSendGo, because
we don't need to ask them because we've been able, it can be independently confirmed without going through them. They're going through a PR crisis because that opens them up to lawsuits. So obviously, right now they would direct you to a lawyer, because if they say, yes, we have compromised your information, that opens them up to a lot of civil litigation. So right now we can just independently confirm it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I saw the documents as well.
I don't know. Like, the way I look at it this way. I mean, firstly, from a data analysis perspective, sometimes people use the word hacking loosely. Pointing a domain.
Well, like to take
hold on, let me finish.
I know, but in order to get all of that donors
Marie,
information,
allow him to finish, please.
Let me finish, please. People often, pointing a domain or redirecting a DNS address, people often refer to as hacking. Sometimes you see a lot of spoofing, so people will put CVS files that has information that's not necessarily accurate. That could be from a completely different SQL server, and it's just a spoofing exercise. A lot of that goes on in we'll call it the hacking world. But I think for us, it's most important that we have very few friends right now, and GiveSendGo has gone to bat for us. They went out of their way to try to do the very best they could. They were overwhelmed because they didn't anticipate 5 million DDoS attacks an hour, which is unprecedented, plus the overwhelming demand. I mean, I'm going to give the guys credit, and try to help them out as much as possible. We always do this on the conservative side. We always attack each other. We don't support each other like the liberals do. So yeah, did they have a problem? Maybe. I don't know what it is, but my my outreach to them would be, okay, well, how can we help prevent that from happening in the future? Because we need to start sticking together on this side of the aisle,
I don't think raising questions is necessarily attacking. I'm not attacking them. I'm, just confirming that this is the case. And it has been reported, in the last several weeks, even before you guys had a relationship with them, that they did have data breaches and some issues with their internal, software and all that. I mean, they're a very small firm, so I'm surprised. It's an unfortunate thing that they're dealing with, but it is a very unfortunate incident. But I don't think anyone's attacking them for it happening. They're very small.
Ben, just before you reply to that, I was going to ask if it might be a liberty right now to speak about that. We have a very large room, so we just want to make sure that we're not giving away misinformation. We're not for sure know right now at this point, because if it is true, there is a lot of personal information that might have had gone out in public. So yeah, just want to make sure we don't.
It's a dust up, definitely a dust up that you'll find out more about from your team tomorrow, Ben. Ben, would you like to take more questions, or would you like to sign off for the night? I know it's late where you are.
I'm in so much pain, guys. Like, I'm gonna die. I gotta go to sleep.
Here's what we're gonna do, gang. Here's what we're gonna do. As host, I'd like to, co-host, I'd like to invite Ben to contact me, and I would be more than happy to assist in running a Spaces information session for you. I have a great deal of experience with this, and many people can tell you I run a very strict room. That being said, I'd like to thank you, Ben, for your time tonight, and all the listeners. I know that they have thousands of questions, thousands of hours of comments as well at Spaces. So I would encourage you all to start writing emails to everybody you know about everything that's going on, and let's remain voices and keep it rolling that way. Any final comments, Ben Trans, before we let you guys go?
I just want to say thank you, everybody, for everything. I know, look, we are doing everything we can. We're all volunteers here, and I was petrified when I crossed that border with the COVID pass for the first time, just being kind of a techie guy, and know what that's going to lead to. That is going to lead to Chinese social credit in our society. Scared the hell out of me. I'm so happy all of you understand that as well and want to put an end to this. We're not perfect. We're making lots of mistakes. We're fixing lots of mistakes, and we're doing our best to improve it. And please, we'll reach out to you. I will talk to you as much as possible. We'll do some spaces. I won't have all the answers. I'll do my best. But I also do think we're in the clear. I had a long conversation with Jordan Peterson tonight and last night, actually, and I talked to him about where I see the trajectory going. And he said, well, I think it's going to be a lot sooner than you think. And I said, from your mouth to God's ears, Jordan, I think so. And he knows a lot of people in government as well, so he's got a feel of what things are transpiring behind the scenes. I think we're all going to be out of this soon, and we're all going to get our freedom back. And once we do, we need to hold that and then look at what are all the other things in our society where we have been restricted in a way that we shouldn't. And we have to start pushing back a bit, not be so apathetic and just let things be how they are. It's going to be our opportunity now that we've sent a message that there's a few other areas that we want to improve. And if we stick together, we'll be successful in that. And this is, what we've all done together. And it's not me, it's not Tamara, it's all of you guys that have made this happen. We're just a few people, a couple of zone trucks, and we decided we'll go here. It's because all of you came on board and supported us. That's what made this happen. And I think there's going to be great things coming in the future.
Hey, Trans, we opened the room originally for you. Just want to make sure that, did you have any more questions, or are you good?
No, I just want to say I appreciate everything that's been done thus far, but I think that a tact of doing live updates quite often, the more often the better. People can forgive mistakes. No one's expecting you to be, Mr. Manhattan genius that can solve everything. But if you're transparent, making mistakes, no one suspects anything. But if you don't check in very often, and then a mistake happens, and we come saying, "Hey, what happened?" and you say, "Well, we didn't know about that. I didn't get the call. Tamara is entered in high-level negotiations she's unqualified for, though she has a heart of gold and we all love her." I'm not trying to slam her, but I'm just saying, if you ask for help and you're transparent constantly, people have a sense of calm, and you won't find these buildups of tension where it results in us saying, "Where's the money, Lebowski?"
Yeah, and I also, just on that, Tamara didn't go. What I do know, she didn't go into any negotiations on her own. She had a team of lawyers with her. I wasn't there, and that's who ended up drafting that. And I will admit, horrible letter. I don't like the wording on it as well. It ceded so much ground. It's something that I said to Glenn Beck. We do this all the time on the right, and we have to stop doing this. We keep allowing the radical left to maintain all the positive words for themselves. So I said to Glenn Beck, like, stop calling them global elites. Elite is a word with positive connotation. They're global scavengers. Treat them like scavengers and call them scavengers. And we have to start doing that across the board. And that's why I agree with you, Trans. When I saw that letter, I looked at Daphne and said, "What the hell is this letter? Who wrote it?" But they were in a bind. They didn't know what to, they were pressed for time. They had to get something out, and they made mistakes, and it happens. But we're going to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Ben, the only thing I would add to that is,
Yeah.
This is a hostage taking mission, and they're terrorists, okay? And you cannot negotiate with terrorists. Right now, the citizens of Canada, the citizens of America, we're in the same situation, okay? The only thing that can be done here is for us to take our God-given power back. If you want me to wear a mask, you don't get my money. If you want me to show my vaccine card, you don't get my money. You want me to vaccine to get on a plane, I won't fly. That's it.
And when this initially came up with the mayor, I said, okay, we're going to move some trucks around and alleviate a little bit of traffic. I said, fine. And that's it. Because there's only one negotiation, which is they remove the mandates, they remove the passports. That's it. And if they want to negotiate, great. Then we'll start piling on other demands, like why does the Minister of Transportation, with his controversial background, why does he still have a job? So we want him to resign, and then we'll start piling things on. But I don't think we'll get to that point, honestly. I think the cracks are already there from a messaging standpoint. I think we just got to remain peaceful and patient and work through all the bugs that we're getting through over the next couple of weeks. And I promise you guys, we're going to get your freedoms back, or I'm going to die trying.
We appreciate your time tonight, Ben. Trans will get with you about the city councilman, I believe, and part about upcoming spaces. So we just appreciate you, especially not feeling as well as you possibly could. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. And again, thanks for everything and all your support. And let's do this. Let's get this all done.
I'm here to be of service, Ben. I thank you so much. I'd like to remind all listeners, as well as speakers here tonight, of Rampart's standard PSA. The only way we're going to get through this, folks, is if we're in it to win it. And in order to do that, we need to be unified. And in order to be unified, we need to exhibit compassion, kindness, forgiveness, and love, my friends.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. So any final comments, Ben, before you sign off? I encourage you to take care of yourself, brother.
No, I got to go. Another round of drugs I got to pump myself with and pass out. So
all right,
I'll talk to you guys.
Good rest. Thank you so much, Ben.
Good night, guys.
Wow. Thank you for coming on, Ben. Appreciate it.
Well, Trans, I figure that answer came across fairly clear to you. Are you satisfied with where we're at tonight, with the hope of further transparency?
I'm glad that he came on and talked. Let's say that.
So am I. So important that communications be clear, transparent, and consistent and regular, just like a good bowel movement. So, with that said, how do we want to run this? How do we want to run the next bit here, Rachel, Dave? Since we've got a big space here, do we want to run some kind of? We got like 1,400 people in the house tonight. The only way to get through a lot of speakers is go through lightning round. Lightning round, of course, is your name is called. You've got basically 90 seconds of Canadian time, and then we go on to the next speaker. Would we like to do it that way, gang?
I think that makes sense.
One quick second. Like I said, this is your room right now. Like we open it for you as well. So I'm not sure. Are you do you want to stick around? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of the people in here want to ask you a couple questions or something like that, interact with you. So it depends on you. Do you want to stick around for a little bit?
Yeah, I'll stick around for a bit, bro.
All right, Joe. Yeah, that's how.
So do we want to tell you what we'll do is we'll fill up the box of speakers with 10 mics. Then as you finish, we'll drop you down, we'll empty the mics, and then we'll load them back up again. You're more than welcome to reapply for a mic. And with that, we're going to start with Dutch. Go for it.
I actually had a comment for Ben, but I'll send it to him in a DM personally because I need a response. So, but yes, Trans, thank you for everything that you're doing down there and keeping us updated. I really appreciate you. You know I love you, but like you are above and beyond, my friend. And I want to really just say to you that I really appreciate what you do and what you are communicating to the groups. So thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify one thing. Thanks for the love fest, Dutch. Hopefully this never continues and no one more person thanks me. But thank you, Dutch. You're lovely. And I just wanted to say it's divisive is when I'm just trying to cause problems. The whole time I've been saying I don't want to talk about this until it reaches a certain threshold where I feel that it's dangerous to not say something. So when I saw something like that letter response to Watson, who's been a bad faith actor from the beginning, demonizing us, and he sends a letter saying, I won't quite demonize you, but I still use all that language, and I use a very unfriendly language. And then the response to that is quite friendly language with the promise of a 24-hour window to convince all the truckers to move their trucks. Well, the police chief deputy was saying our strategy is to let them move the trucks and then tactically shift them out of zones where we can split them up and destroy them. Then that's alarming to me. So if you want a general position in the Sun Tzu game where the army is 100 out of 100, that's the truckers, and you've got the people with you, and that's 100 out of 100. People are joining every day. It's a just cause. We have it. And then I get to the leadership, and we don't have updates very often. We've got money. We keep falling for the same thing of going through one conduit to get this money, and we get a big bag of money together, and then they seize that money. That seems like it's time to decentralize and just work directly with truckers. And it doesn't seem like it's splitting the atom or doing some sort of quantum math to just go, here's 40 GoFundMe's. Click on this map for the block you want to donate to. That seems a simpler way to get money safely and directly to truck captains, and you don't need to follow a trail of, can you prove that you're not spending this on hookers and cocaine, which I don't think they're doing, but you can leave that open to debate if you don't account for it all. So that's all I'm going to say on the matter. It wasn't to be divisive, but it's if a general category is what you want, to have a general that's leading you when we don't need a lot of tactics, then don't talk to the mayor. Do not send him letters back. Say we're leaving when everything is removed. You don't send him glowing letters after he just shits on you. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And I'm going to get back to the simple life of reporting the relations between truckers and police and not get involved in criticizing the leadership anymore, because I believe a lot of people are going to think, oh my God, what do you want to take over? You want to hold the ring? No, not at all. I'm just concerned for people that are in one hand saying we're overwhelmed, and in the other hand, they're not giving us regular updates to let us know that they need help.
I love those 2-minute and 20-second live on the ground reality checks, man. They're just perfect. Yukon Strong, you got 90 seconds. Run with it.
Hey, thanks, guys. So my message is for Trans. Now, a couple of things, Trans. You have the best intentions here tonight. Thank God you did this. I'm sure it's brought a lot of relief to people. But what I'd like to remind everyone is that when there's negotiations between diplomats, there's a lot of show and the letters and all that stuff keep in mind it's a lot of posturing, right? The mayor can't come out and say, yeah, we'll do whatever you say, right? All the people will turn on her. All that really matters is the final result, and whatever is said in those letters, it's just a bunch of BS. What happens in the meeting and what gets signed and what actually goes down is all that matters. So I know it's frustrating, especially when we've been kept in the dark, but try and keep that in mind that it is posturing.
Oh, I get that, but it's not people that are qualified to posture. These are people with golden hearts, but are completely out of their element with negotiations with this much on the line and this much snakery going on at City Hall. They will have their way with honest, good-hearted truckers, and there has been no attempt to keep communication open. There's no need to hide anything. You've got Peckford here. He could volunteer and step in and everyone would trust him. But why isn't that being pursued? Why are the same mistakes being made and no one's talking to us? It's the last time I'm going to talk about this, which is why I'm getting my rocks off right now.
Cool. Sean Avery, 90 seconds. Go for it, buddy.
Hey, everybody. So my first question is, has the leaders of the Freedom Convoy, have they provided any sort of org chart? Do we know, is this on paper? Do we know who is in the inner circle and what is their job title?
Breaking in on that, at the previous press conference on Sunday last, the roles of the individuals were somewhat outlined with the introduction of the lawyer, the tactical expert, the security expert. Everybody knows Tamara and Ben. Who the cat on the other side of the room was, I hadn't figured that one out. And apparently they have brought on a media advisor. That's what I've got on that.
So I think that if anybody has the ear of the inner circle, I think that needs to be done immediately, because I can tell you that there's a lot of people that are fairly influential, I think, in Canada or living in the US that are ready to, I would say, get on a plane. I would say get
60
on,
seconds.
Get in their car, do whatever they need to do to support. So, but the difficulty is understanding who's in charge and whether or not the organization is ready for that, because I think there's a time and place that some people are going to step up and say, we're ready to lend, but we need to know who's behind the machine. So
exactly, more transparency. Thanks for the comments. Bob, fact checker, you got her, man. Run with 90.
Thanks, Joe. I'm just monitoring Zello. Everything's pretty quiet right now. Just went out for dinner with the family, so I'm just trying to catch up on what happened here. I'm reading all the tweets, and I know Trans was asking about Pat King. He's not associated with the administration at all. So I just want to make that really clear to people. He never has had anything to do with them. He represents himself. So that's important.
I have to interject and say that's not entirely true, because when I was looking at the Bear Hug website, like 2 weeks ago, he was a captain of I have the screenshots of it if it's been taken down, but he did lead like part of the convoy. So his name was on the website.
Well, I'll read directly from the back to the GoFundMe days. It says, thank you everyone for your love and overwhelming support, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but the
we
website
will be engaging with media directly in the coming days. Patrick King is not and never has been affiliated with our movement, nor has he been part of our great team of volunteers. Patrick King only represents himself.
They're just trying to
does not
disassociate
represent
him.
any
He was on the website.
Started the Freedom Convoy 2022. This guy
he
has
was
lied.
on the website.
Mari, let us go.
I know, but
this guy has lied.
You're over talking, Mari. No, I overstep. Welcome to Spaces, especially when Joe Rampart does it. Please do not overspeak other speakers. Thank you. Carry on, Bob.
So that's the first statement, and I've DM'd Joe and Dave on this and Trans. And then I also have a tweet from Tamara that lists the names of the official people. So Pat King has lied about removing the mask mandates in Alberta. He's lied about 50% of the Ottawa Police Service resigning. He's in it for 5 minutes of fame, and he's harmful because he can't. everything he says ignites a firestorm. And the spaces that I've done, Marie, some 12, some 17 hours long, I've had lots of questions fielded from him, and I have to debunk it all because he just shoots his mouth off for his 5 minutes of fame. So he is not part of the official convoy, and I'd be happy to DM you what I sent Joe and Dave.
Now you may respond, Marie.
Well, otherwise I'm lying in my lying eyes, because I have the screenshots of the Canada Unity Bear Hug website where he was a field organizer. And I understand why they would want to disassociate with him now at this point, because the media came at them so strong. But otherwise, I'm blind in my lying eyes.
No, I don't believe
saw
you are.
that.
I don't believe you are, but you are referencing a screenshot from a website 2 weeks ago.
I'm referencing a screenshot I took.
2 weeks ago. Has there been updates or changes in the structure between then and now?
I don't know. There's like very little transparency there. And that's the issue, where when they're saying, because Bob was saying he has never been associated with their organization. Well, that's not true. That's just spreading some misinformation.
There may have been some kind of initial organizational attachment, but that may not be the case today. It does not seem to be the case today based on the evidence that I would say that Tamara's tweet confirms, as well as the information that was revealed at last Sunday's press conference.
Yeah, that's why we just need to stick with very clear language and not say he's never been, when there is the case that he actually had been. It's a credibility issue at that point if people are claiming a never.
Well, Joe and Dave, you have my references, my facts that I tweeted, and that's from let me see the gentleman's name here. BJ Dichter.
He was just in here. Yep.
Yeah, team member. Okay, he's the one that says, we will be engaging with media directly in the coming days. Patrick King is not and never has been affiliated with our movement, nor has he been part of our great team of volunteers. Patrick King only represents himself and does not represent any of us who started the Freedom Convoy 2022. That's right from the top. And then I've also followed it up with Tamara's media relations tweet 4 days ago that updates the Freedom Convoy and the media relations support team of volunteers and the names. And he's not listed on there. So don't tell me, Marie, that I'm spreading misinformation, because you're going to. I
wasn't saying you were. I'm saying they were, by saying that he was never associated with them, because otherwise I'm lying. So it's like, it's a credibility issue.
This isn't about you. This isn't about
no,
you.
But did you not say he's never been, Bob? Did you say in that statement he has never been? That's all she's contesting.
That's the statement. I'm not saying that.
No, for sure. But she's just contesting that one line that says has never been is not true, because she's got a screen grab saying he has been. It's like simple. It's not critical. It's not going to derail anything. It's just, she's not wrong.
I saw his Rumble video trying to associate himself with this, but it was debunked early.
Oh, I agree. Tonight it's happened. I asked a simple question. Are you in negotiations with the mayor? And all that came out was don't believe. And it was Pat King speaking for them, saying, I just talked to them. Guys, there's no deal been made. And I said that we didn't ask if a deal had been made. Is the letter real? And is she in negotiations? Because that letter is scary. It is a glaring showing that she's out of her element. She's got a heart of gold. I totally support her as an inspiration to this movement and critical to it. But you need to put the proper tools in place. As this grows, the amount of responsibility will overshadow any one human. Any group of humans need to ask for help.
Yeah, and it's important not to change information later on, because, I'm going to contact some of my media friends right now to see who archived the website, to then, prove that this was on the website, because you guys don't want to believe a screenshot that I took, which I understand. So I'm going to try to find the archive of the website.
Well, just to be clear, I think the general position that I can see that I have to stand on now is that there is a possibility that at one point there was some involvement by Pat King with the structure of the convoy leadership. I would leave that up to you. You currently have some kind of evidence. Follow it up. Do the due diligence that you would do as a fourth estate. Carry on with that, Marie. Bob, Marie, any more, or should we move on to hands? We've got like 45 requests.
Yeah, I'll just keep it really brief. Sorry to, hag on this, but yeah, I just think, that just raises these credibility questions that Trans has, outlined. And I do find it problematic. I am a reporter. I do this type of stuff for a living, and I'm not trying to be critical necessarily, but I have to have a critical eye when there are statements like Tamara's tonight that are in contradiction with each other. And then now it's like the Pat King thing. I understand why they would want to disassociate, but there is a credibility issue when you're lying. You can say, he was part of it. We didn't know this stuff. Now that we know, we don't want to associate. That's better. But then, trying to say, oh, he's never had it when it's not necessarily true. Okay, I'm done. Sorry about that.
Thank you so much, Marie. Appreciate that.
Hey, Joe, just a quick thing. Just want to bring up, just because Ben did mention it, so I'm not putting something that he didn't say, but he did mention that they're working on improving their communication systems and making sure that everybody's on the same page with that. So it could have been one of those things that they were working on, and that's the official answer from him, that they are improving the way that things are run over there. So it might have been one of those things where they're just all trying to get in the same page.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to roll back to 90-second lightning rounds so we can get as many people voicing out as we can. Bob, did you want to take the other 45 seconds?
Yeah, I just want to advise people to follow the media people that Tamara has outlined on her Twitter. Really simple. That's it. If we follow those people and ask those people for the directive and information, then we're going to be square. Anybody outside of that list that Tamara published, has nothing to do with the official leadership as deemed by Tamara. So thanks for that. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks so much, Bob. GFID, you got 90 seconds. I know you can do it, buddy. Go for it. GFID, are you there? Earth to GFID.
Someone else real quick, Rampart, and then go to me.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I just need to cut in really quick. Yukon has been messaging me that the hack on the site, the donations of GiveSendGo, is doxing people right now, anyone who donated, and people are on Twitter spewing out the names of donors, trying to demonize them. So if anyone sees those names, report them immediately. I think Dean Blundell is doing it. So yeah, it has been doxed, it has been compromised. Reason number 800 million why you don't centralize in one place, and that decentralization was from the start a viable option. And it's not to go, oh, hindsight's 2020. It's to learn from mistakes and adjust strategy.
Absolutely agree. You got to move on the ground. You got to react to everything that's going down in real time. I'm going to bring Yukon Strong up, but for the next 90 seconds, we're going to give the floor to James M.
Hey, thanks, guys. Dave, Rachel, Joe, fantastic room. I feel like I'm watching history happen right in front of me. Amazing stuff. I think that we're watching this movement go global. You can just feel the heavy hitters coming in to get up to bat. Just amazing. Just I was kind of watching what was going on today, feeling like that the authorities might gain a little bit of the upper hand, but after listening to this and just listening to some of the explanations that DJ gave us, I can see that this stuff is really gaining momentum. We're going to win this. I'm feeling pretty positive. So thanks so much for this room. Trans, thanks for your updates. They're terrific to watch. That's it. I'm out.
Thanks so much, James. Yukon Strong, update us. 90 seconds, run with it.
Okay, so it looks to me like the hack is real, guys. Trans touched on that before, and people need to be aware that if you donated, probably going to need to change passwords, or make sure your identity's protected. Watch out, people could try and impersonate you online. But it's important for everyone in this room, if you see especially a well-known media persona putting personal user information on their Twitter account, you go report them, man. That's against Twitter rules, and that's horrible thing to do. Like, that doesn't serve anyone anything except being vindictive against people they've been repeatedly losing against. Finally, the last guy mentioned, he was worried about the tides turning and stuff today. Guys, even if they clear Ottawa, they clear every blockade and every bridge, there's still 7 million people in this country who are unvaccinated and are not going to give up on this anytime soon. We'll just regroup and we'll make their lives hell elsewhere.
You bet, Matt.
Mr. Rampart, I just wanted to say thank you for letting me speak. I also want to remind everyone that everyone here are volunteers, and Mr. Rampart has a button on his Twitter page to buy him a cup of coffee. So, Mr. Rampart, I'm going to excuse myself and listen, and I just wanted to say thank you very much for having me, and we'll see you soon.
You're welcome, Three Aces. Thank you for coming into Spaces. I encourage everybody to use social audio. It's the wave of the future, so we can communicate. Join my Spaces any day, Three Aces. With that, Alpha, take your 90 seconds, brother.
Yeah, real quick. First, good evening. I'm doing the same thing, playing catch up with the information that's been sent to me all night. So first thing, Trans, I know mentally you're probably exhausted, brother, but give me a call before you put head to pillow tonight. The second thing I wanted to cover, it might have been Three Aces that brought it up. And I disagree on a part of it where, hey, what's on paper doesn't matter as much as what happens. And let me explain something to you guys. Everything matters, whether it's written, whether it's verbalized, whether it's implied. Every single thing is important. About 2.5 weeks ago, I made a comment that raised eyebrows. It was very unpopular when I said there was red flags you got to look at when they chose to use the GoFundMe as initial thing, and then these turned out. What happened tonight. What I'm going to tell you guys: do not make the mistake a lot of people make when you get emotionally involved with people. It's the movement that matters. It's what the vast majority of the people in that movement matters. Understand that leadership, isolated leadership, can always be compromised. When you have people that are going to make meetings, let me tell you guys something. If I'm wrong, someone correct me. Every trucker convoy space that I have dropped into, the majority of the people's stance is we are not moving at all. But yet decisions were made to be moved. So those decisions don't reflect what the people wanted. So you have to, with good conscience, ask yourself, why did the leaders make those decisions? If they cannot offer you an answer that is clearly indicated of why they made that choice, you need to question the motives. They could have been threatened. They could have been nefarious from the start. We don't know that yet. But what you do know is that the answers are not sufficing. So don't fill in the blanks for them. It's very important. We've ran into this issue here in the States with the stuff, with the Capitol, with Giuliani, with Roger Stone. You remember, you follow the movement. I'll follow Trump until I can. If Trump turned out tomorrow to be the bad guy, guess what? It doesn't affect where I stand. He just gets written off as one of the bad guys. I know you guys see these people and what they're doing, and Marie, if you're still in the room, shoot me a DM. I like to get some of that information you had to Trans, and I like to take a look at it myself. If people have information that's contrary to what these people in leadership positions are saying, it doesn't matter how convinced you are that they're good. We can't discount something that's, reliable proof. It doesn't mean it's a catch-all, but it has to be looked into further. And then the final thing with regards to the doxing, understand to take self-preservation measures there. You are not going to be supported by Twitter. I can tell you right now, my driver's license, my home address, everything was provided on Twitter by a news agency with regards to my story. I contacted Twitter, showed them, and what Twitter said, it's not a violation of their policy because they were quoting a third-party app, even though it was on their space. So don't expect Twitter to come out and be like, hey, they're doxing you, we're going to protect you. You need to take those measures into yourself. Other than that, you guys keep your heads on a swivel and don't let a group of people decide what an entire population of people wants to do. Get back that power. Whether it started with good intentions or not, get back your power.
Good points there. Appreciated, Alpha. Gave you some extra seconds to hammer home that nail. Go choose some crayons, brother. Thank you so much. Hey, GFID, you're got the bases are loaded. You're up to bat, and you got one coming at you at 95 straight on. Give her a swing.
Evening, folks. I just want to tell you all to hold the line, keep the faith. We are winning this fight. Some of the stuff to come up here is kind of heavy, but some of the stuff that needs to be done. Joe, I sent you a message. I have dealt with some of this type of logistics during the Fort McMurray wildfires with a fuck ton of people and a team of people to help me do these kinds of things. So if I have to do it remotely from home to help them, I will do so. If I need to pack a car and drive my ass down to Ottawa somehow, I will do so. But get in touch with whoever needs to be in touch with, and I'm here to help outside of what I've been doing. I do have a fair bit of free time during the day, so you guys let them know. Trans, keep up the updates, buddy. We love you. I know you don't want the thanks, but the thanks anyways. I've been in that position. You just got to take it, mister. I understand what you're there doing. I understand what everybody is there doing, and everybody that's in this room understands what you guys are there doing. So keep it up.
Thank you, brother. I'm just going to say one quick thing, and then I'm going to hop off too. Like Alpha was hitting it out of the park. Thank you so much, GFID. But no one wants to get back to the simple life of reporting on the truckers and the relationship and me telling people to put their open beer cans away more than I do. I don't want to be divisive, but there is a tightrope that you walk between falling off to one side that's divisive and falling off to the other side that you have blind faith in something that's grown well beyond the proportions of the control mechanisms of a general central command. So you guys need to realize that and understand that I do understand the maxims of don't be divisive, but we've gotten into a lot of bad things by taking that path of least resistance and most trust, and trust but verify. And if they're not going to verify, then I don't trust. So I've only recommended that they be honest and transparent, and no one is going to fault them for making mistakes because people will jump in to help them. But if we don't hear anything from them for a week and then we see a mistake pop up and then we say, oh, we could have helped, it didn't need to reach this point, because in the Sun Tzu, he's called us all terrorists that are descending on his town. You don't engage with someone that's been talking to you like that, and you don't forsake a gift of the one counselor who was coming in that wanted to have good faith relations with you. And why is leadership saying, I didn't hear about that? Like, who's speaking for who? It needs to be organized. I understand it's a huge task, but keeping it quiet and just saying, I'm sorry in hindsight, and then relying on everyone to trust authority of people. We have no idea what the credentials of anyone here is, but we do know that we have access to a large pool of the biggest brains on earth. I don't want to be part of it. I know it's a horrible thing to hold the ring. So I just want to report on it. And I'm going to get back to that. The politics, I'm going to replace it with Eddie Murphy Zippets from now on. And I will be a positive force back to doing that. And thank you, Davo and Rampart. Enjoy this space.
Thanks for your time, Trans. Watch for your DM to blow up from the 1,200 people in here that have questions for you, brother. But thank you for sending me the email addresses of those champions on the ground. That's how I put my money in the game. If you got skin in the game, do it the right way. So, guys, Dave and Rachel, if you guys want to go ahead and start loading the boxes up, I'll just kind of fill in all of our speakers on the rules of the game with the 90-second lightning rounds. You can go ahead, take 90 seconds of your time. Keep watching my icon. When I start waving my hand, you're probably reaching the 60-second mark. At 60 seconds, you got another 30 seconds. If the comments are great and the engagement is great and lots of other waving hands, maybe there's questions, we might extend the conversation. Other than that, we'll drop you down. You can reapply. There are 86 people. Is that what that says? I don't know. My eyes are fuzzy. But with that, we're going to start seeing those boxes get filled up. Let's add as many people as we can. And then we'll run the boxes empty and then reload.
Hey, Joe,
letter that capitulates the way that it did, wrong. And it could, it's too vital. This is too, every step, everything that is done is vital with how this is going to turn out.
Thanks, Carleen. Appreciate that. You still had a few seconds left, but we appreciate it anyway. We're going to shoot over now. Who's going to be next here? Let's go with Danny B.
Morning, everyone. Really inspired by what's happening in Canada. I see my old mate James M is here today. Nice to hear him speaking. I'm usually in this room. I'm over here in England. It's amazing what's going on over in Canada. We absolutely love it. But you, at the moment, you're not winning anything. You've won the firefight. Now you've got to fight through the position. You've got to dismount and you've got to hold the ground. If you turn your head for a second, the space that you once occupied is going to be full of security guards and peelers. And you're not going to be able to do anything once they get their feet on the ground. So you've got to keep going at it. Otherwise, you're going to lose because they'll have you. I've been to many protests in the UK, hundreds of them. And you turn your back, you blink for a second, and the peelers are in there occupying the space you once held. And then they've got the upper hand. So keep going, keep doing what you're doing. You're inspiring everybody around the world. Just, we love what you're doing. And I'm not a Canadian, but I used to live there. So I love Canadians. I love Canada. It's a great place. They poked a sleeping giant when they fucked with you guys. So keep it going. That's all I'll say. Thank you.
Thanks so much for those comments, Danny B. Chatter B, you're in the box. Go ahead.
Hi guys, love you. Just three things. Regarding the disassociation from certain individuals within the freedom movement or the freedom convoy movement, my suggestion would be simply putting a disclaimer that's well written regarding that this doesn't necessarily reflect the views of the convoy itself, but we do recognize that some individuals have their own ideologies. And that just covers that. I know it seems silly, but it means a lot when the public sees it. That's number one. Number two, in regards to, I've done some professional political speech writing. My honors degree is in rhetoric and media studies. So I unfortunately work full time, but never know. With this mandate thing, they might want to fire me this week. So if they let me go, I may have time to help if anybody needs my help, just to edit and compile and help with messaging. And also central comms, because this is going to drag on long, it looks like for a while, the communication, like Trans was mentioning and everyone else was mentioning, needs to be very cohesive, clear, and unfailingly principled. And it also has to denote exactly what the intention and mission is here, which got kind of blurry at the beginning because it was kind of political, and then it was kind of mandates, and then it was kind of just some mandates, and it was very unclear for me. So I just suggest that becomes more focal and stated with using media platforms to do it, because this is an information war through the media. We should fight the battle in the media.
That's right.
That's about. And also, I'd like to see some humanity in this. I would like to see some media and videos of interviews with the truckers, with people on the ground who can give more personal accounts of exactly how this is affecting them and some of the stories that are heartbreaking, so that the world can see the truth and how it felt for them to be demonized by their own government. I would like to see that too.
I agree. Good points. Thank you. Going on to the next name, I'm going to go with Unacceptable D.
Thanks, Joe. I'm a big fan of yours, Joe, and I look forward quite a lot to you interviewing on a regular basis, having interviews with BJ. I think you have a real talent at what you do. I think we saw real humanity with him. I think he came across as very integral. And there was also some nuggets that he let out with Jordan Peterson. And then they also have a negotiator that he doesn't want to identify for reasons. He says they're trying hard to not keep it political, and that he spends all of his time, you can feel all the people coming down. You can just, and that's the other thing. Okay, so I'm a big fan, Joe, and I want you to be interviewing him, and I'm going to be right there. However, I got to, with all due respect, I got to come at Trans, Alpha, and Maria. I mean, this is one of the reasons why the left is so successful. You guys all have good spirits, but man, you don't ask the guy 3 times the same question. Maria's picking, she's right, but she's picking out the smallest little point. These guys in 3.5 weeks, they're not a major political organization. In 3.5 weeks, look how far they've come. In 3.5 weeks. And we're coming down so hard on them with transparency, this and political messaging. 3.5 weeks, truckers have turned an empty desert into, we've got hope. All right. So the hell with, we got to take a step back, understand what they're fighting up against, and not be so damn critical and have our expectations bar so high with these guys. All right. I'm willing to cut them a hell of a lot slack given how far they've come, what they've done, and what they're up against. And Joe, I want you to continue, but I agree there should be the transparency. Tonight was the beginning of it. And Joe, I hope you and BJ, you're the guy. Thanks.
Thank you for those kind words, Unacceptable D. Judy Clausen, thank you, ma'am, for being so patient this evening. Could you please take your 90 seconds?
I will, but I'm feeling a little bit like I won't say what I wanted to because I was just Unacceptable D was very very good and effective with what he was saying about don't pick these apart. But I will say that I also saw what Maria mentioned, but I have also like about Pat King being parked, being a road captain. I did actually see that. I didn't take a screenshot of it like Maria did, but regardless. I think it's vitally important, like just like Unacceptable D just said, is to keep in mind that these are truckers. And I have been telling people, I mean, I write a column in my local paper and I said, listen, the media, the reason there's so much distrust of the media is because you hold people to account instead of government. Your role is to hold those in power to account because the regular everyday person can hardly do that. And during this pandemic, you have taken it on as your role to keep people to account, to keep people doing the mandates. And like, for example, just in my own city here, there was a bar that declared that they would be open, and of course, the media made it their job to close them down. And meanwhile, there was a celebration in a pub, very similar kind of atmosphere. Nobody was wearing a mask. And it's like, what's the deal? And it's just, so I really, having said all of that, I really do believe that as the movement grows and as the trucker convoy keeps getting funds, which I'm very happy to see. And I really do think that this is a time that we need to hold the line, and in terms of fighting for our freedoms. And it's not just ours, it's everyone's freedoms. And people don't know that. People don't know that that there are people who don't care about our freedoms and they just care about themselves. And I think I'm really excited to see this. And I really think that this is a blue collar thing against the laptop class. And yeah, anyway, I'm fired up. I'm really glad seeing all this trouble with the GiveSendGo and GoFundMe that we just decided to personally send money to our trucker friend that's there, and that's, so we're glad for that. But
yeah, we can all agree this isn't over until it's over. Folks, watch my hand. It's waving to you at your 60-second mark and then flash waving at you at your last 5 seconds. So with that, next in the box, we're going to go with, let's go with Patrick. How are you, Patrick? Spaces to Patrick. Patriot. There you go. My apologies. Go for it.
All right. So I wanted to touch quickly on the GiveSendGo thing. I think Ben said that there was only one recipient on the GiveSendGo account for the money, and I think that's just wrong. It's a single point of failure, and it should be changed. So all of the captains should be added as recipients for the money, because the thing is, they won't be able to. Because if there's only one account that receives the money, it's way easier for the government to freeze that account and then just put a blockade in to get money to the truckers. But if you have 100 different recipients, which they're not aware of, and I mean they would have to go through a court process to discover who all the recipients are, then it would be a lot tougher to stop that money from get to the truckers. So I think all those captains should be added as recipients. And since we have a relationship with GiveSendGo, I mean, it would be easy to just add a bunch of recipients on there, say, hey, just distribute $5 million to all of them right now. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to do that. Another thing is, I agree with Chatterbox. We need to have some cohesive messaging, because whenever I log on to